Let's, committee clerk will take the roll.
Commissioner Marecki. Commissioner Clementi. Commissioner Baydun.
Here.
Vice Chair Kinlock. Chair Anderson.
Present.
We have a quorum present.
Thank you. Next item.
Next item, item B, Chair's remarks.
I have none right at this time. I think I mentioned it already. We're on a very tight time frame. Okay.
Item C, approval of the July 6, 2023 meeting minutes.
So moved.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed? Seeing none, the minutes are approved.
Moving to item D1, communication forwarding the June 6, 2023 meeting report from the Office of Corporation Counsel on the Criminal Justice Complex.
That's a
File, make a
receiving
motion.
file.
Motion to approve.
It's been moved to approve. Everyone in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed? Seeing none, communication has been approved. Receiving file. Madam Clerk,
Item 2, an update from James Heath and Carter Fisher regarding the status of the Criminal Justice Complex.
James, welcome back, and Carter.
Thank you very much, members of the committee, Mr. Chair, Mr. Vice Chair, Commissioner Baydun, Commissioner Marecki. Thank you once again for your interest in this. I think you all are always the ones at this committee with a keen interest in our progress. So I appreciate that. Commissioner Baydun, you asked about the question that you're most concerned about, and that is really the last paragraph of the report that we submitted to you. Just so you should know, we also submitted from our last change order panel meeting, which Commissioner Anderson and Kinlock, I believe, were the only ones present for that, in which we discussed your request for a financial update reporting on funds that had been spent on the CJC. That report was included in the report that we submitted to you. I had asked someone from M&B to be here to be able to discuss that, but as you've got a short time period and they were unavailable, you just have the written report. I did talk with Terrence Adams, and he indicated that he would be willing to meet with the M&B representative to go over it, and perhaps kind of if there are any questions that you all have or he has after reviewing and discussing it, you'll have that information. Good afternoon, Commissioner. In terms of the written report, the first 3/4 of it tells you that work continues, and we have about 10 different crews on the site on a daily basis. Most of the work is happening in the adult detention facility. The most important part of the report goes to your question, Commissioner Baydun. About a month ago, on the 21st of September, August. ROC did provide us with a notification of substantial completion. And that is something that we had been discussing. And as you all will recall from our discussions and from your review of the contract, the county had 10 days to respond whether or not we felt that substantial completion had been achieved or not. We did on August 31st send them notification that although they had made a significant amount of progress since they had begun talking about substantial completion, which you will remember was even as early as April. And we had to provide them with some of the items that we thought were not complete, along with our response. The county did formally inform ROC that they had not reached substantial completion per the terms of the development agreement from our perspective, and that they should continue working on the items which we listed. We have not heard from ROC since then. And I count that as a good thing, because work has continued and really never stopped from the point that they sent us that notification. And they continue to make progress. It would not surprise me if in a matter of weeks or so, they submit another notification saying that they believe that they're there, and in good faith, as we did in August, we will review it, look at the progress that they've made and make a determination. In that notice of substantial completion, they indicated that they thought there would be about a 4 to 6 week time period between substantial completion and turnover. And so I don't know if that timetable is what they will say in their next iteration of substantial completion notification. But that is kind of where we are right now. As I said, they have not formally said, hey, we disagree. They've just continued to keep working on the project, which is a good thing. What you all know when we talk about the 6-month time period that we have to transition into the new facility, it's a 6-month time period from turnover, not substantial completion. And after substantial completion is agreed to by the parties, the county has a period of time in which we need to submit all punch list items to them. That is something that, as you have heard from our end users and you've heard from me, we have been getting a head start on looking at punch list items. And so it's not appropriate to technically call them punch lists because they're not punch lists till we turn them over to ROC, but they are certainly aware. There are no secrets between the parties about the work that we feel needs to be completed. So that is the primary update, Commissioner Baydoun, that relates to the question that you had. And I'm happy to answer any questions that you all might have.
I'm going to let them finish presenting. I don't know if Carter had anything, but if he does, this is a good time to do it. Then we'll go back to questions.
Sure. Just briefly, Carter Fisher with Wayne County Corporation Council. One of the other activities that we've been instrumentally involved in on site has been bringing vendors for services once the building opens up. Particularly, we're working with a group to operate and manage the entire facility once it's open. So we're negotiating a contract currently. They've done several walks of the site just to get a feel for what all they'll be managing. This was the result of an RFP and we have come up with an award through procurement for that. So we'll be bringing a contract shortly for operation and management of the CJC, sort of like how we have a third party operate the Guardian building. In addition to that, we're working on off-site parking lots and paving contracts, and we'll have, I think, 2 of those shortly coming up. One for the lot right across from the CJC, and then one by Lincoln Hall of Justice, where we'll be paving the area that had been demolished, and then also trying to improve access to the currently existing lots there for the folks who will still be in Lincoln Hall of Justice.
Okay. All right. That's the extent of your report today, right? Okay, we'll go to commissioners and committee members that are present. Commissioner Baydoun.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Carter and Heath, for being here today to give us an update. So, Heath, you said that on August 21st, they sent you a notice that we can take over, basically, right? And obviously, it was not ready. The project, from your perspective, is not ready for completion to turn over. That's the term I'm looking for. Okay, so what would constitute the turnover not ready or ready to take over possession, if you will? Are we talking about like small items? Or are we talking about structural things that have to be done? For example, partitions, drywall, things in that nature? Or are we talking about just like, missing switch plate cover, light fixtures, things like that? Is there anything major that would make you not take possession of the CJC back in August?
So the notification they sent us was not about turnover.
Oh, okay.
So it was not about us taking possession.
Okay.
It's about them declaring substantial completion. So turnover comes after substantial completion. So we don't take the keys at substantial completion. Although what the contract says is that at substantial completion, we have to be able to operate the facility for its intended purpose.
Okay.
Minus minor punch list items. And so when we sent the list to Rock about these are the things that need to happen in order for you to achieve substantial completion, we did not include on that list what we would consider to be minor punch list items, because that does not affect substantial completion. Those minor punch list items, straightening a light fixture plate or something along those lines. I mean, it runs the gamut, and the list was substantial. I probably shouldn't use that word. The list is extensive enough, and it goes to items, such as, state of Michigan inspections on items that they had said need to be done. And so we, in order for us to operate the facility as a jail, we need certain sign-offs by the state of Michigan. And so if we don't have those sign-offs, we can't operate for its intended purpose. And there are things that the developer and the contractor needed to change. And so those are some of the lists on those items, some of the list things that they continue to work on. And I want to be clear, we're happy with the fact that they continue to move and work on those items that we needed. But we've talked in the past about covering plates for conduit and other things in the facility that would make it secure. And I'm talking about the adult detention facility there. They continue to work on those sorts of items, which are important for us to be able to operate that ADF as we should.
Heath, from your perspective, these items that they're still working are they confined to the interior of the facility, or are we talking about like major work to still be done on the outside?
The list is extensive, but the vast majority, if not all of it, we're talking about internal work. And so we're not talking about putting up walls or installing a roof or anything like that. They are intricate items inside of, and they primarily relate, quite frankly, to the adult detention facility. That is the most complicated of the buildings in the entire complex, and it is the one that is most important from the standpoint of security and needing to make sure everything is right. And also from a timing perspective, because we are more limited after that ADF is turned over, it's going to be swept by the by CGL, by county folks, and by the sheriff's office. Different from the courthouse, you just can't have more workers coming in doing work in a facility after it's been swept and secure, because then you just have to go through that whole process before. One of the things that we're going to do, for instance, and CGL has talked about this in other areas, I mean, you're going through that facility. I'm talking about the jail, the ADF, you're making sure that there's not a screwdriver left. There's not a bolt or anything that could compromise the security of that facility. And so different from, say, the prosecutor's office there, you've got to be sure that it's completely buttoned up, done with construction before you can move in. And if you were to do kind of subsequent work there, it's kind of a challenge for our transition. And so
Thank you, Heath.
Commissioner Kenlock.
Thank you. Okay, so we had talked before in the change order meeting. We talked about the importance of understanding the finances. At that time, you weren't able to ask, in which it was problematic for me that no one could answer those financial questions in the meeting. And so you indicated to myself and the committee that we would have that information by, this meeting, the CJC meeting. The financial components we stated then is very important for us to understand the cost associated with what's going on at the CJC. So I'm going to ask again at this particular point, based on conversations that that's what I'm saying, what I'm asking as it relates to making sure that folks were here to answer any questions associated with that report. Now, when you talk about substantial completion, check, punch list and all of those terminologies, the end users, are there any concerns as it relates to structural issues on the inside, such as basketball courts, drop ceilings where they're located where they're not supposed to be located, or any of those structural designs that could potentially add more time after we do the turnover? See, I'm concerned about once we, get to the point of turnover, that the punch list and some of the other things will add time and us being able to occupy the building and potentially cut into our ability to move into the building and impacting us and driving us to have to begin making payments.
So the end users have been walking the building and have been looking at it. And the answer is yes. I think just about every end user that is going into the building has suggestions about what could be done differently and the like. And I'll give you a perfect example. The Third Circuit Court, I know you're familiar with the court and its construction. They have AOI, arraignment on the information courtrooms, that are not used for jury trials. And so the Third Circuit Court came to us late last year and indicated that they would like to change 2 of the AOI courtrooms into jury courtrooms. The design of the facility was for those to be AOI and non-jury courtrooms. And so because of the timing of that request, because the courtrooms were finished, we indicated that that would be what we are terming an after construction change that we would make. Because to your point, Commissioner Kinloch, for us to go to ROC when they are saying they're very close to substantial completion and say, you know what, the county is making a change. We want to scrap the design that you did according to the design. You built it according to the design. We have this late change that would very much so affect the substantial completion determination, that discussion that is happening. So as an example of how we kind of mitigate that, we went to the Third Circuit Court and we said, listen, we respect your discussion and your request to change these AOI courtrooms into jury courtrooms to help with the backlog that we all are concerned about and the like. And so we've put that on a list of something that can occur after the county gets the keys and the right, to your point, Commissioner Baydoun, to go in there with our own construction teams, because at this point, because we do not have possession of the building legally, it has not been turned over. We just can't go in with our own construction team and start changing up the work. You also, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh, no, continue. But also I want to,
You also,
go ahead, continue. I'm sorry.
I just want to bring up one point. You also mentioned basketball hoops. So in the ADF, the design that had been approved by the county and the end user, in that case, the Wayne County Sheriff's Office, had been for there to be fewer basketball hoops and more of these kind of body weight workout machines. The Sheriff's Department looked at that after it had been approved. This is probably around the same time that the Third Circuit Court came, and they said, you know what, we understand that we'd signed off on this, but we think we ought to make a change in that regard. Similar to that, we said, okay, the facility's been designed and constructed per design in that regard, but that is a change that we are certainly willing to look at kind of as an aftermarket, after construction item, but to have the developer and its general contractor come in would be way more expensive than we could get our own construction group to come in and do, and would affect the schedule to your point.
Okay, over a year ago, when I chaired this committee, we on a regular basis sent communications out to all the end users, requesting them to come before this committee to talk about any changes that they needed, because what did we say at the end of this? We did not want to be hit with all of these various issues and whatnot. So timing, from my standpoint, is very important as far as when they communicated that with you all, because we do not want to get down the road and have to begin to pay ROC the fees that's associated with us not taking possession of this building. Last question is this. We just created a facilities department. And part of the reason of building facilities department, I remember at one point was mentioned as relates to the CJC. Why are we having a management contract go out? And do we have someone managing the Frank Murphy facility currently? And I'm just saying, so we built out this department. We were toured by individuals who said that they're going to be responsible for running this department once it's up and going. And now we're having a contract out.
So I'll answer the first part and then I'll let Director Hurst talk about the second part of your question. You are right, and we do appreciate the work you did to invite the end users to speak to this subcommittee. And I will tell you that we've had a lot of conversations with them, and quite frankly, it's not sometimes until it's one thing to look at drawings and plans and say, I like this or I don't like this. It's another thing when they get in and walk the facility and see it and
So you're giving
feel
them a
it.
pass as relates to the notification?
I'm not giving them a pass. I will say this. I appreciate the work that all of our end user transition teams have done in reviewing the drawings, looking at it. There's still a lot of work that we have to do together. So the most important point that you had, we are looking at any request for change, and we will not let those requests be the basis for the county staying over in the facility and causing us not to meet our deadline
Okay.
for transitioning in. So that is not something that you have to worry about. And that is something that we've been very clear about. As to the facility maintenance contracts and the like, I'll let Greg Hurst speak to it. But what I will tell you is that that department works very hard, and they are thin in terms of the work that they do all across the county. And one of our main goals is to keep this facility on schedule with respect to all of its maintenance and all of the things, so that it is a shining example and continues to be throughout the life of the project. But Greg, I'll let you.
Sure.
Go
Good
ahead,
afternoon.
Greg. Identify yourself, if you would.
Absolutely. Good afternoon. Greg Hurst, Director of Facilities Management and Planning for the county. So the question on the table is, why do we have dual or the PM over the property manager for the facility? So two things. We are going to have, or actually we do have on board currently, a facilities manager that's going to be on site. Actually, we will have two that are on site at the facility on a daily basis. We will have the property manager. So there's a delineation of services. Our facilities manager is going to cover the day-to-day when it comes to work orders. So we're looking at providing a preventative maintenance schedule of planning. So we'll have tradesmen on site to cover those duties on a daily basis.
Employed by the county.
Employed by the county.
Okay.
Yes, sir. So this piece will be employed by the county because there are several things that the county is going to be responsible for utilizing the tradesmen that we currently have on staff. So several of the items, which would be like HVAC maintenance, backflow preventative maintenance, things of that nature that are currently covered at our buildings that are already in operation, will continue to be covered by county professionals. And we will continuously have oversight, and that's where the facilities manager comes in. The facilities manager also will oversee the property manager's components. So in addition to those items that we currently self-perform, we're also going to have different contracts, snow removal, the monitoring the parking lots, not just the physical, aspect of the lot, but actually the cameras and things like that. That's where you bring in the property manager, and they will kind of be that on site day to day and they'll hold those contracts.
Okay.
Meeting wants to
Yeah, no, we're fine.
forego time.
No, it's fine.
We need to wind things up. But anyway, any last comments or questions from members of the committee right now? Short ones. All right. Thank you all. And thank you, James and Carter and our new facilities manager here. Thank you. And with that, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Oh, we
I'm
have to
sorry.
go on to item E,
Uh,
such other matters as may be
I
properly
apologize
submitted
for
before
that.
the committee.
Yeah. I don't know of any. Do we have any
Mr. Linda.
notification of any?
Hey, Linda, how
additional
you
items?
doing?
Okay. Uh,
Okay.
next on the agenda,
Item F, public comments.
I hope I did it
Are
right,
there
because
any
I
public
totally
comments?
forgot what we was talking about.
anyone in the audience? Identify yourself if you would.
Hmm,
That mic doesn't work. All right.
Right,
What's that?
right. I thought about that. I
I'm
was like,
Charlie
I'm doing
LaDuff. I
this
know a few
early.
things about jails in
I
this
think
county.
it's about October.
I'm gonna be calling you anyway, so I might as well just ask. I didn't hear anything today. There's a change order panel and there's a list that's somewhere. I will call all your offices. I would like to have that. MMB there, we should know how much funds have been spent and what the future projections are. And finally, I didn't hear a specific example. I know about the drop ceilings and all of that stuff as well, the conduit and all of that. So, okay, what is the substantial completion list of demand you've asked for? And it's incredible to me, you sent it and Rock hasn't responded. You know, just like, hey, we got your list. Probably not. Not my experience around here. Thank you. I'll be calling Mr. Anderson.
Mhm.
Thank you. Is there any other, anyone else in the audience or present that would like to have
Mhm.
comments? Yes, please identify yourself. Come up.
Okay, cool.
Alan Cox,